welcome to my channel. My name is Sharon, and this is a channel that is dedicated to all things related to narcissism. I make videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on all types of topics related to narcissism, so if you haven't already, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos. I would really appreciate it if you gave the video a thumbs up. It's a free way you can help me out, and definitely don't forget to leave a comment because I like to read what you have to say. So today, by popular request, I have a very special returning guest, my one and only much-loved daughter, Paris. Paris, welcome back to the channel.
Hi, everybody.
Paris was on 2 weeks ago, and she talked a bit about her experiences growing up with a father who's a covert narcissist. So she's here again on one more visit to answer a few questions and to talk about the grand finale event with her father. He certainly made sure to go out with a bang. So Paris, before we get started, did you want to say anything to people because of what they had said to you last time?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you guys all so much for all of the positive comments and love you left on both that last video I was in as well as my post in the community page. I read everything you guys had to say and it meant a lot to me, so thank you.
It meant a lot to me too, so thank you everybody. I really appreciate it, and that's actually why she's back today, because you guys are so welcoming, so thank you. So before we get into the last day that my ex was living at the house, I wanted to say a little bit about how we handle my ex at the house. We purposely do not give him any extra power. When it comes to a narcissist or any toxic person, the power that they have is given to them by us. So my kids and I sometimes even laugh at things my ex has done. We see him for the harmful, insensitive, and manipulative person he really is. We don't see him as somebody who gets to control how we live or what we do. Of course, there are realities that we can't escape, but taking power away from him and accepting what we can't change has made a big difference for us. We can't change what he's done, but we can absolutely control our reactions to it, and we choose to live that way. Now, some of you have asked some questions that you wanted Paris to answer, so I'm going to ask her a few of them now, but because of time, what we'll do is any that she doesn't answer, she's going to write on the community page. She'll answer them on the community page, so keep a lookout for that. Okay, Paris, are you ready to answer a few questions?
Yes.
So I'm going to ask you just a couple of questions, and then the rest, like I said, we'll put on the community page, and then we'll go into the big event, okay?
All right.
So Paris, when you were growing up, did you notice your father being different than the other dads?
Not particularly when I was younger, just because like when you're little and you go on a play date, it's the kids and the mom because the dad's at work. So I never really had an experience where I could see and compare my dad to other fathers. But as I started getting older, maybe 12 to 14 range is when I first started meeting a couple of my friends' fathers. And I did start noticing that their fathers were a little more involved, but I just kind of thought like, oh, that's just the way my father is. It wasn't necessarily something wrong.
Did you make up any excuses for that, or did it bother you in any way, or were you accepting of it?
I mean, I guess I don't really know what I'm missing out on is the thing, because I never really had a super close bond to my father, so it wasn't like I missed something. I didn't know what I was missing, so there really wasn't anything to be upset about.
All right, so I'm going to save the rest of the questions for the community page, and do you feel okay going into what you came on to talk about?
Yeah, I'm fine doing that.
So today, Paris is going to talk about a very traumatic event that occurred in our family. I've discussed this on the channel before, but today we're going to hear it from a child's perspective. It's very difficult to deal with a narcissistic spouse, and it really is beyond anybody's natural ability. It's even worse when you have kids because you are so confused, afraid, and traumatized yourself. Nobody marries someone knowing they're a narcissist. And most of us had no idea what narcissism even was. We learned about it while we're dealing with it. And children are the ultimate innocent victims in all of this. What I learned the hard way is this: narcissists don't change. They're not safe. You can't be in a relationship with a narcissist and have any quality of life. It's not fair to you. It's not fair to your children. And I know so many of us want it to work out. We think it has to work out. Or let me give them another chance. Or they said they're sorry. What I really have learned, and it's absolutely crucial that you understand this as soon as possible, they don't change. So start thinking about that as soon as you recognize what you're dealing with. What Paris is going to talk about is the culmination of a 3-year collapse. Now, this started in 2016 and he progressively got worse and worse, but there were red flags and other things that he did from the very beginning of my relationship with him. So this is a worst case scenario for somebody, and this can happen. This isn't just my spouse, this is anybody's spouse. Somebody who is a narcissist does not get better, they get worse. So Paris, do you want to start with the last day that he was here, what happened?
Sure. So this happened about, on the last video I mentioned my father coming into the house and my mom needing to call the police. So I saw that was in, I want to say November, and then in December this is when the final day happened. Going into that day, it wasn't necessarily a normal day to begin with. My father was at work for the day, and my mom did sit my brother and I down, and I don't remember exactly what she said, but the gist of it was that we were aware that when my father came home, he wasn't going to be in a good mood, and that there was the potential that he might leave the house for the night. We didn't know exactly what was going to happen, but we were aware that something might come up. So when my father comes home that night, I'll say around 4:30, my brother and I were downstairs, and he says hi to us. And see, the thing is, he was acting normal around us. So for a moment, I thought, oh, maybe we were wrong. Maybe he's like fine, because he was acting completely normal, talking to my brother and I like it was a normal day. Then he goes into my mom's room with and it's kind of just like we kind of just knew something was wrong. He was in there for a while, and we could hear that my mom was trying to talk to him, but he wasn't really responding until finally he left the room, and he was holding like his clothes, like he was packing to leave and put stuff in his car and walk out. So at this point, my mom did send my brother and I upstairs because for obvious reasons, she didn't want us to watch our father quite literally walk out on us. Like he was walking out of the house and leaving us. So we were upstairs when the rest of this happened. For about 10 to 15 minutes, I could hear my father walking around the house with my mother trying to talk to him. She was asking, like, what are you doing? Can we talk about this? Can you stop? You're scaring the kids. You're scaring me. Can you talk to me? Can we talk this out? And he was just completely ignoring her. Like, I don't think I heard him talking at all. And I at all. Until eventually I started hearing screaming from downstairs. So at this point, my brother and I do leave our rooms because, there's screaming downstairs. And the person yelling was my father, over and over saying that our mom was hurting him, that she was hitting him. And that's not true. He was completely lying, because the way our house is set up over the living room, there's this little kind of balcony in the hallway, and he was under this balcony. So I could not see him where he was yelling. However, I could see my mother standing more than 20 feet away in the kitchen, not touching him, even as he repeatedly yelled to us that she was continually hitting him. That's not what was happening. At this point, my mom's on the phone with the police, calling them to the house to help, because he's really in a full collapse right now, and we need help getting him out of the house. And at this point, my brother actually starts yelling at my father to stop. Not yelling. He was like, please stop, please. It was upsetting him. My brother and I are both crying, and he's aware of this. And at this point, my father actually kind of snaps out of it in a way to, what he told my brother and I was that, like, oh, like, I'm sorry, like, the police are coming, we're handling this. Talking like he was the one handling the situation, and he was the one needing to comfort the kids, not the problem. He was acting like, oh, like, all apologetic, like, oh, this is just, we're gonna get this taken care of. He was the one scaring us, and he was fully aware of that, but he was I guess he realized that we weren't falling for it, that we knew our mother wasn't hurting him, so he was trying to kind of trick us onto his side, which did not work, because we could obviously witness what was happening, and what was happening was not him trying to help us. It was him causing a problem that resulted in my mom calling the police to the house. When the police arrived to the house, I don't know if they asked us to go to our rooms or what, but we were back in our room, and so I was not fully able to hear everything that was going on. But what I did know was that The police had my father outside. He was not being arrested. They were talking to him outside. And I could hear him raising his voice, and he was trying to get my mother arrested for assault, even though it was a blatant lie. Like, it was not true. What I found out later was he had quite literally hit his head on the wall purposefully himself and was pretending that my mother was the one who threw himself into the wall. I did not know that at the time. I just knew he was lying at the time. And I could hear my mom talking to the police. She's obviously upset, telling them the truth that she was not assaulting him and that her kids were upset and traumatized. This goes on, I don't know quite how long, but they were at the house for at least half an hour, probably nearing in on an hour, honestly. And this whole time, like, my brother and I are crying in our rooms because what's going on? I can remember actually on the ground in my room praying that no matter what happened, my mom, brother, and I were together. I didn't care if my father took the house as long as the three of us were together. I wanted just my family. Because even at this point, like, I was viewing my family as my mom and brother. My father, I don't want him. Like, I don't want to be with him anymore. I want it to just be the three of us by the end of the night. My father does eventually leave, and at this point, a police officer comes to the house. He was nice. He asked my brother and I, like, if we saw anything, like, if we knew. He asked us, did your mother hurt your father? And we're like, no. There really wasn't anything to say. So once he got, like, kind of that confirmation from us, he was okay to go, because he told my mother that he believed him. It's not that he believed her. It's just, it wasn't possible for her to be hurting my father, because she would not be strong enough to do that, is the thing. So they did believe her, but they just needed confirmation from us to say that that's what happened. That was really the end of the night, for that day. We were obviously upset for the rest of the night, and it was kind of like we didn't really know how to react to it, and I think we were all kind of just shaken up a bit. So we didn't really fully talk about it until the next day, because we're still taking it in, and that was really what happened that night.
Do you want to go into the next day, or do you want me to talk first?
Sure. I can tell what happened next.
Actually, I guess I'll interrupt for a second.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm just going to take over for a second. This is really her story, but so when the police left, it was horrible. It was very traumatic for everybody. And I had been very upset. I was actually hyperventilating. At one point, I was on my knees on the floor, because I was okay when he was at the house. When he left, I just lost it. And the police actually called my pastor to comfort me. And the police didn't want to leave because I was so upset. So finally, before they left, one of the cops said to me, listen, and I think obviously he was just trying to make me feel better. He said, this probably isn't going to happen, but I just want to let you know that there is a chance that Child Protective Services is going to call you tomorrow. But, it's probably not. But just so you're aware that this could happen. Well, the next day, Child Protective Services did call. So I'm going to bring Paris back in to talk about what happened then, and then I'll wrap it up at the end.
All right. Yeah. So, the next day, like my mom said, Child Protective Services called, and I don't remember if I was aware there was the potential they were calling or not. I don't think I was. I think it was because, like, the police officer had said it was a potential thing. So why would we mention this and get upset over it when we didn't realize it was actually going to happen? However, I remember, my mom gets the call, and she's obviously she's upset, and she's explaining to my brother and I, and this actually happened on the way to a school program we were going to. So we were talking about this because when we got home, we needed to kind of start preparing, but we also still had to go to, we had a commitment to get to. So my mom explained that Child Protective Services were going to come, and that they were going to look through the house, like, make sure there wasn't, that we had food in the cabinets, that we weren't in like a messy house, that we were being taken care of, and that we were also going to need to talk about what had happened and, like, explain that there was no abuse in the house other than my father, who had currently left, who was out of the house at this point. And this is, like, a little bit separate, but this is, like, something that the kids who have narcissists for parents might need to do, is we had to act like we were normal. Like, everything was fine at the school program we were at that day. Even though, like, internally, we were very upset about what happened. we had to suck it up, and we had to keep acting like it's normal, because it's a situation where if you make a big deal out of it, it's gonna get worse when you're in the middle of it. We had to act like we were normal. We couldn't have people, because our friends are aware of who my father is. We couldn't have them trying to reach out to him, and that could make things worse. So we had to like pretend we were okay until we get home. When we get home, that's really when we have the big talk, and we need to start preparing for it. And child protective services, they are there to help kids. But when it's a situation like we were in, when we knew that there was no abuse going on in the house, and there was the potential that my brother and I were going to be taken away and separated from our mother, it was not it was a terrifying experience, and it kind of just made the horrible night before, like, it keeps going on. um our mom talked to us about like questions that the child protective services would be asking, and kind of how to answer them. We told the truth, because the thing is, like, every question she asked was, have you seen your mother hitting your father? No, we haven't, because that didn't happen. It was a lie. However, we were scared that, like, what if they don't believe us? What if I say the wrong thing and I mislead them? What if they decide, it seems like there's nothing going on, but just in case, we're going to take them away? There's so much pressure and terror in it, that even though we were answering truthfully, it was still terrifying to be questioned by them, because of the threat hanging over our heads in a way. And during this too, my brother and I were both aware that my father did tell my mother, that he would tell the truth, that he had lied if we were taken away. So we were aware that he was considering fessing up. But he was still willing to let us be questioned. So kind of on top of that, like, we were aware that our father was letting this happen, that if he told the truth, it wouldn't be happening, which makes it even worse, because he's not going to confess unless something bad happens. So we have that hanging on top of us too. Like, we're aware things will work out, but we might be taken away first until our father tells the truth. So we had that extra anger and, like, hard feelings about the whole situation. When the lady came, she talked to our mom for a bit. She walked through the whole house, checked the cabinets, make sure, like, we have food, that we're being taken care of. And then she talked to my brother and I each separately. I don't remember all the questions she asked me, but I know she asked me, have I seen both or either of my parents doing drugs, drinking alcohol? The answer to that is no, I haven't. She asked if I'm in trouble, like, do I get in trouble a lot? No, I don't. And then she also asked, if I were to get in trouble, what would the punishment be? And I mean, I told her maybe I would lose my phone for an hour. Like, it wasn't like, she was looking for abuse. She was looking for me to say that we get spanking or something like that. So I answered truthfully. I told her, like, yeah, no, I don't get in trouble that often, which I truthfully didn't. And, like, I keep saying I'm truthful, because the thing is, I told the truth, but I was absolutely terrified doing this. I felt like I was lying, even though I wasn't, because I was so scared. Like, what if she doesn't believe me telling the truth? What if she thinks I'm lying, even though I'm not? When she did leave, we were obviously, like, it worked out. But it still wasn't entirely over. My brother and our role to play in this was kind of over, but I believe that she was still in contact with my mother for a couple months after this happened, even after it was ruled safe. So from time to time, she would, tell us, like, oh, like, the Child Protective Services called today, like, everything's still fine, you're still, like, the case is over. And that was really that was the most traumatizing experience that I've gone through, those couple days, and even the weeks and months afterwards, because, like I said, Child Protective Services, it wasn't like one and done. They still kind of kept lingering.
All right. So, Paris, thank you, honey, for that. So that was the big event. That was what ended my marriage. And in a lot of ways, I feel that, God did for me what I couldn't do for myself, because I did what a lot of people do. I kept thinking, well, maybe it'll get better, or, maybe this will change. And, he said he's going to be better. He said he's sorry, but it just got progressively worse. And, the reason that I even have my channel in the first place is to help people understand what narcissism is and to understand that it doesn't get better. I know people don't want to hear that. And I understand that. I was like that too for a long time. This is not something you know about. Now people do. But for a lot of us, I've been married almost 20 years. I didn't know what this is. I thought narcissism was somebody that was vain. But narcissists are severely, severely, I don't know if it's mentally ill, but there's something really wrong with them. They're evil. They don't have any care. I've said before, if somebody doesn't care, if they don't have empathy, there's nothing that they're not capable of doing. Like Paris said, he was willing to let his children suffer because he didn't want to get into trouble. You hear about parents that will take a bullet for their child or, jump in front of a car or whatever it is. A narcissist is not that parent. A narcissist will let the child suffer. They'll let their spouse suffer. It's really up to you to take control of the situation. So today, things are a lot better, but there's still, the remnants of him. I'm still at the beginning process of going through the divorce, and it's worth it. It's worth it to be free. But this does still affect us. But like I said, we choose. It's a choice every day that we don't let this person control our lives any more than he has to. So we're moving forward and things are better, but we're still getting through it. Narcissists will steal your child's childhood, and it puts a lot of guilt on you as a parent. I try to look at it though. I can't go back in time. All I can do is move forward and try to make the future and the present as good as it can possibly be. So thank you very much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. And I hope this has helped some of you understand what narcissism can really come to. I'm not saying your narcissist will get this bad. As a little side note, my ex has been diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder, and a psychiatrist also told me that he was likely psychotic. I believe that he also might have other conditions because the collapse that he has had is absolutely, there aren't words really to describe how stunning it is. His mask is completely off, and to think that this person, this thing, was in my home, that I was married to him, that this person was driving a car with us, and he was a part of our life. It's terrifying. So if you are in this situation, keep in mind what you're really dealing with. The person they show you isn't who they really are. Thank you again. If you haven't subscribed already, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. I will be back on Monday with a video with Joe, so stay tuned for that, and I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. God bless you.